Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Predator 2 Ultimate Boar Predator, which is going to be another Predator. They're all very similar, but they all have their unique details, so I'm going to run through all of them so you guys get to see them, and if you're searching for a certain one, you might want to see a review just for that one. So I'll go through everything, but as we continue to review more of these Ultimate Predators from Predator 2, we're probably going to spend less and less time going over the overall stuff and just showing the specifics. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Before we do anything else, let's go ahead and take a look at my package. I have to say the artwork on this one is also awesome. They tend to have really nice artwork on there. I was told they're not from comics or anything, that they're original artwork, so that's kind of cool. Predator 2 logo is reflective. Same thing on the side, 30th anniversary, and then some figure photos on the back. Some more figures you can buy. I think I will have reviewed all of them by the time we're done with this batch that I'm reviewing now. Same thing there. And then you can open it up as usual. You get a photo of the figure and then you can see the figure. So usual NECA packaging, some of the better packaging on the market, I would say, especially for domestic figures. Alrighty, this guy stands roughly, let's just call it 8.5 inches. The little spiky part on the top of his helmet goes up just above that, but it's pretty close. And that'll make it about 21 and 3/4 centimeters. Here he is up against a Marvel Legends figure for size comparison. Quite large. Okay, let's do a quick question of the day. Which of the... No, I take that back. Different question. Do you prefer the more traditional looking Predators like this, or do you prefer the longer dreaded, extra bulky, armored up AVP style Predators? For me, it's those ones, guaranteed 100%. I love the long dreads, I love the bulk, I love the armor. I always felt like these classic Predators were just too tall and skinny. It just doesn't appeal to me as much, but they're still cool, obviously. So let me know what you guys think. Okay, as far as the figure goes, aesthetically speaking, as usual, NECA nails it. They cover their figures with so much paint, and everybody that says, well, it's because they reuse so many parts. Which company doesn't? Which domestic company doesn't reuse so many parts? Paint job is wonderful. Sculpt is wonderful. Very, very nicely done. All the details are good. The armor looks nice. Again, the fishnets, the stripper gear looks wonderful. I don't know how they paint that so well, but apparently it's impossible to do Spider-Man webs. But it is possible, not for NECA by the way, but for certain other companies named Hasbro, it's impossible to paint Spider-Man webs, but it's perfectly possible for Hasbro to put fishnets on their Predators. That's insane. And also all of this other paint job that is just incredibly well detailed. Shading in the skin, the freckles, and the armor, the detail in the gloves, or rings or whatever you want to call it. Man, can't do it. It's impossible to do a Spider-Man that way, and I know what you're thinking right now. They just showed a Tom Holland Spider-Man that has it. Okay, that's one out of how many Spider-Man figures with the raised up webbing? And even still, just do a recessed webbing if you want to. Toy Biz did that plenty, and we all like those figures a lot. Okay, so anyway, this figure looks gorgeous. The paint job is immaculate. The sculpt is really good. It's everything you would expect from a NECA Predator figure without any problems in the paint. Like sometimes the mesh is off or something like that. This guy looks great. Very, very nicely done with the darker armor. I like that. 9 out of 10 for the paint job. No, 9.9 out of 10 for the aesthetic. I can't think of anything that really needs to change. It looks really, really good. Incredibly well done. This batch of Predators, some of their best work as far as the finish goes. Very nice. Now, as far as accessories go, we do get the helmeted head, and then we get the unmasked head, which I have to say is one of their best. Not just the pattern on the top of the head, but the eyes and the mouth. It's one of the cleanest heads they've done. It's hard to even notice the split where the two pieces are put together for the jaw and the head. Very, very well executed. Super clean. The eyes are great, again, lined up nicely. Maybe not perfect, but pretty darn good. For hands, you get the two wide open hands on them in the package, then you get two gripping hands and the disc holding hand. I don't really like the hands the Predators come with, but it's the same ones they've had for forever. So if you've been collecting them, you already know what that's about. You do get the open and closed disc. You get the open and closed space pine cone. You get a skull. You get the little arm blaster thingies, and then you get an actual blast effect, which is questionable looking. I don't love the paint job on that at all. or I guess the shape is okay, but the paint job's questionable. But then you also get his backpack, which I have on him already. Here's the thing about the backpack that bothers me. Well, there are two things really. One is it's not holding on very tightly at all. It's not too bad, but if you handle the figure, it will likely pop off. Just kind of wedges on. Not a big deal, but it's there. The blaster has a nice little rail right here, which is pretty cool. I think it could maybe be a little bit tighter because it's very loose in there, but that's fine. And then you get the hinge. That all works nicely, no problem there. This is a rotation, so that's pretty good. And then that's where his blaster would go. Now this piece right here is a hinge. As far as I can tell, that's a hard piece of plastic in the center. That's the peg that goes, and it has a peg that goes down into here. And then this is clamping on either side. Looks like there's a pin through it. I can't get it to move, and that's what you would need for him to be able to bring his blaster forward, unfortunately. So a little heat should do it, should free it right up, but right out of the package, I was not able to get it to move, so just be aware of that. You probably want to heat it before you crank on it, but that is how his blaster works, which is actually one of the nicer overall setups, assuming you can get that moving. So that's pretty cool. So accessory-wise, 8 out of 10. Don't like the blast effect at all, and I don't like the hands at this point. I think we need some updated hands. Okay, as for the articulation, it's going to be pretty standard, though he does have a lot of stuff going on around his neck, including his dreads. But you still get pretty good leaning on that ball peg, full rotation. Yeah, I think you're going to be just fine. It won't be the most range you'll ever see in an action figure, but plenty. So that's good. Shoulder pad here is connected to the forearm, same as the other figure that I reviewed recently. So this one, if you want to move it out of the way, you can. You can get the arm up. Feels like that's about the limit for the actual joint. Maybe a little more if you heat it. This is not actually binding on anything, so that's fine. Of course, you get your full rotation all the way around. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbows work no problem. I didn't have any stuck joints on this guy so far, so that's nice. You do get rotation at the wrist. The computer does open. No numbers in there, but it does open. And then the wrist has rotation, and a hinge. All right, and then we have the same thing on this side. It looks like it's the wrong part, but it's actually supposed to be this way as far as I can tell. It is the same. Like you have the computer on this side and then the blaster on this side, just like that, but that's how it's supposed to be as far as I can tell. I don't know why he has two computers, but it makes sense because if he does, they're always on this side. So for whatever reason, this character has scavenged one apparently and has one on both sides. I don't know, but that's the case. So that's pretty cool. Torso joint on this guy. Let's see how his is moving. Careful with these guys. They are connected up here to the top torso, so don't hold down here and then try to move the top. Make sure you don't grab that. He leans forward okay. Doesn't lean back too far. Side to side is acceptable. Pretty tight. I would definitely hit it with a hairdryer if you're really getting into posing this guy. You'll be able to move it much easier, but it's there. It's all right. You get your rotation up there too. And then down here you get rotation and a little bit of extra lean, but not too much. All right, for the hips, these flaps are soft. Hips are still the same bad hips that definitely need to be replaced at this point. Technically have good range, but there's way too many loose joints or looseness problems. Goodness, I can't speak anymore in the hips. Like, it's not absolutely fatal, but it's really annoying to pose these guys with the hips that just want to fight you. Technically good range. And once you do that, you don't have that looseness. But when they're together, they want to move together, and it's super annoying. I hate that. And like right now, it's very flat. What the heck? It's very floppy. This one's kind of loose all the way around, but at least once you pose them, it's not the jiggly kind of loose. But still, I hate the way that they haven't fixed the hips. Hopefully they do. All right, so thigh swivel is nice. Double jointed knee. Perfectly functional, and again, they painted and sculpted all the way through the knee joint. Man. I'm just tired of companies lying to their audience, to their customers. All right, not NECA, other companies. Ball peg in the ankle works pretty well. Like, as far as a crappy ball peg ankle goes, this one's good, but I still don't prefer it. It's too loose and I think too limited in range, but it's not bad. So yeah, as usual, articulation is what we would expect. It's fine. Decent range, but problems that don't need to exist, that have existed for a long time, so I'm kind of tired of it, but still it's fine. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10 for articulation. if you're willing to deal with looseness and tightness and things like that, you'll be just fine. It technically has the range, but it is kind of a pain in the ass. Okay, so time for a final verdict on this guy. As is usually the case with NECA, I say this all the time, the sculpt, the paint, the accessories, top notch. Wonderful, wonderful figure. Articulation, it's good enough. It's there, it'll do. And I think you're probably used to that if you buy NECA products. Most of them, this is probably true for. But still, it's a good release. If you like the way this one looks, I'd say go ahead and get it. Because of the articulation problems, I'm going to knock him down to only an 8 out of 10, but I think for the money, you're still getting a heck of a figure, and it is annoying to deal with those articulation issues, but I think you can deal with them, and once you do, you have a figure that looks absolutely gorgeous and has a good array of accessories. I'll take that over a figure that maybe doesn't have the articulation issues, but looks like crap, because then there's nothing you can do with it. It's going to look like crap no matter what, so that's my thought on it. Anyway, there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.